This is the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast. Here's Rick Ucchino and SP3 on the Bleav Podcast Network.
Oh, and a good Wednesday morning to y'all. NXT in the rearview mirror, Dynamite. All eyes ahead for that. Got so much to get into today. On the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast, Jeremy Bennett in his normal time slot this week. I'm not having internet issues. Hopefully his power stays on as he's getting rained on out there in beautiful Nebraskan country. What do they call Nebraska?
Nebraska.
your corn, right?
Yeah, Cornhusker State. Yeah, that'd be it
Okay,
there. Yeah.
All right.
A little bit of thunder. A little bit of thunder, a little bit of lightning, but so far so good.
All right. Well, hopefully you stay throughout the entirety of this podcast. We got a lot to get into today, as I said, including a new old face, a new old voice returning to NXT last night in Apollo Crews. Always love it when they take the very seldom used and often miscast main roster members and go, you know what? Maybe we messed up. Let's send him back down to NXT and actually use these people. So it was a very pleasant surprise to see Apollo Crews make his return. And you know what? They didn't waste any damn time. He stepped right up to the plate next to Mr. Big Bron Breakker, kind of like they're pulling exactly what they did with Dolph Ziggler. But does that mean they'll do exactly what they did with Dolph Ziggler? We will dive into that. Congratulations go out to Roxanne Perez as she defeated Tiffany Stratton to win the first ever women's breakout tournament, which means a date with Mandy Rose is in her future. We will talk about that as well. New reports over this Judgment Day, I'll go ahead and call it fiasco at this point, with Edge being removed. Fightful Select have some more information out on that. We will dive into that as well. And you know what? Let's talk about Dynamite tonight, because Tony Khan has the very important job now of booking a tournament to crown a new AEW interim world champion, with CM Punk on the shelf for a majority of the summer with his foot injury. We know Jon Moxley is going to be in the main event of Dynamite tonight, but who will he face? We will dive into all of that on today's show. First things first, got to thank our friends over at BetOnline. They continue to be the number one source for all your betting needs and sports information. Get the latest odds, news, developments on this year's NBA Finals, the NHL Conference Finals and Finals, Major League Baseball. Reds are hot, all of a sudden scoring runs left and right. You get the latest fighting news, even next season's early NFL futures. It's all there. Head on over to the website, use your mobile device, sign up today, receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code Bleav to get that bonus and get started. Get on into the action. That is BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts. And before we get started, just a reminder, if you missed yesterday's announcement, it was made official. We were unable here on Bleav in Pro Wrestling to follow through on our Money in the Bank ticket giveaway due to the venue change. So we do apologize for that. However, we're making it up in about as best way possible by just moving that train on down the line. And we are going to be giving away now 2 tickets to SummerSlam in Nashville for all my Midwest folk. Much easier to get on over to Nashville than it would be Las Vegas. So make sure you check out my pinned tweet at Rick Ucchino on Twitter. For those listening on the podcast, that is RICKUCCHINO. It's very simple to get registered, folks. Retweet my pinned tweet. Make sure you are subscribed to the Bleav in Pro Wrestling YouTube channel. And that's it. You're registered. You're done. You're in. We will select our winners Money in the Bank weekend. Money in the Bank is July 2nd. So you have a little over 3 weeks to get registered. By the way, if you're already subscribed to the channel, you're halfway home. All right. Well, this isn't just for new subscribers. We reward everybody here at Bleav in Pro Wrestling. So all you got to do is just retweet my pinned tweet. And for those of you who did register for the Money in the Bank giveaway, you are automatically qualified. You're automatically in. So thank you guys for all your support. Make sure to pound the thumbs up button while you're here. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Turn those notifications on. We really, really need your help as we continue to grow this channel. All right, Jeremy, let's dive into the big news last night. Leading off tonight is somebody that I wasn't expecting to talk about frankly, for the majority of this year, because he has not been doing a whole lot. He has basically been Mr. Main Event along with Commander Aziz. And, well, now I kind of feel bad for Commander Aziz because he was not there last night because there was no reason for Commander Aziz to be there last night because we saw the old Apollo Crews, maybe even a bit of a newish Apollo Crews, show up and step up to the plate to Mr. Bron Breakker as he's wondering is what is next for him after defeating Joe Gacy for the 1800th time. Apollo Crews is back. The Nigerian accent is gone. This looks much more like the Apollo Crews like we should have been getting for a very, very long time now.
Yeah, NXT is now going to get a taste of Uha Nation, the man that we thought we were getting when he came over to NXT several years ago. It is very interesting. He gets called up to the main roster, and I really honestly don't think he was even ever in a feud in NXT, let alone hold a title. I don't think he had a feud in NXT before he got called up. So he got called up way too soon.
I don't remember him in NXT like very much at all.
He was not, he might have had a little thing with Corbin, but he really did not have ever an established feud, let alone any kind of success in NXT, which was mind blowing. Very big surprise. Nobody saw that really coming. And a very promising surprise because when I was doing a In Your House post show, I'm looking at that roster and I really only see one guy that could really legitimately challenge Bron Breakker right now, and that's Grayson Waller, and he steps out in the North American segment. So there it was really interesting to see who was going to challenge Bron Breakker. I was getting ready to get a let out a big sigh if Joe Gacy was coming out again because I just couldn't think of anybody. This is a great surprise. We'll get that. We'll get the Apollo Crews that we know and love from the Indies. I think you saw that in the main event on NXT last night, and it was a very pleasant surprise and a very pleasant surprise for the NXT universe as they gave him a very nice ovation.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have been doing that for any of the alumni, whether it was Dolph Ziggler or for Natalya, obviously for Finn Balor when he was back as well. Even the Viking Raiders, to be completely honest with you. I'm looking up Apollo Crews's history here, according to the Internet Wrestling database. He did not have very many televised matches in NXT, a lot of traveling house show matches against some of these names. All right. See, for Elias Sampson. Remember when Elias existed? Remember when Elias had a last name?
I know his younger brother.
Yeah, right, exactly. Riddick Moss. All right, not
my 2022 breakout wrestler of the main roster this year.
Yes, there you go. Angelo Dawkins back in 2016 at a Tampa show.
Hell, remember he used to team with Sawyer Fulton before Fulton joined Sanity. There's a little trivia for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just going down there. This was back when he was back in NXT when Balor was NXT champion the first time. Yeah. He did not have many televised matches at all, but he did wrestle guys like Corbin. He did wrestle Ty Dillinger, Alex Riley. There's a blast from the past. Christopher Gerard.
He had zero feuds down there. No. Before he got called up.
He had really nothing, and really he did nothing of substance. He's one of these guys that they gave a chance during the pandemic, man, and he flourished about as much as he could with that Nigerian Prince gimmick. I think it was almost doomed from the get-go, and I think it's just because nobody could really take him seriously the way that they were presenting him, whether it's when the big ass, spear that he was walking down to the ring with, or whether it was the Nigerian accent, which we all knew was very, phony. Nobody could really just kind of buy into it. What we wanted, right? And I think you're seeing this more and more and more is people just want to connect with who you actually are.
Yeah.
You have some of the great character workers in professional wrestling, guys like Danhausen, guys like Bray Wyatt, who can take these larger than life characters and get them over and part of their And part of what gets them over is the mystique, because you don't know what they're really like. But you got guys like Apollo Crews, so I think we just want to connect with and see who they really are, and just let this dude be a total badass.
Well, on top of that, guys like Bray Wyatt, what they do is believable, and what they did with Apollo was forced upon him, and it just wasn't natural. So that's why it didn't come across good. Where with Bray or Danhausen or anybody, it's effortless for them. It's natural. And that's why it just didn't come across as good. So now, I guess they said he came over for Monday Night Raw. So let's put old Commander Aziz and Omos together in a tag team. How about that?
I mean, you know what? If you're gonna get this, honestly though, this might be a good thing for Commander Aziz if he does make his way onto television. Whether MVP pulls him in to be a tag team with Omos, right? The problem with that tag team is the same problem you had with the Brothers of Destruction. Who are you booking to beat them monsters, right?
Well, I mean, and neither one's a good worker either. So
yeah, they're both stiff, right? Like stiff. I think Omos is still a little bit green, but at least Commander Aziz, can we finally get this man some gear that he looked comfortable in?
Yeah.
Because whether it's wrestling in that skin tight tank top or it's that big ass commander jacket, and those pants, that dude just does not look comfortable in a wrestling ring. Get this man some actual gear that allows him to feel like himself, maybe he can move a little bit better and we can actually see what he can do. But Apollo Crews, though, the main guy. This is a guy who has, I think, constantly gotten the shaft in WWE.
Yeah.
They'll push him for a little bit. Oh, here's the United States Championship. Oh, okay, well, we're going to drop that in about a month or two. And then we're going to take you off of television. You're going to be in catering. Oh, we're going to bring you over. You're going to do something cool here. Yeah, we're not really going to revisit that. And then it's like they finally put all of their cards on the table with him when the fans weren't there. When nothing really mattered because the fans weren't there. They weren't living off of actual reactions. And then you notice the second that the fans came back, he disappeared. Mm-hmm. He just went bye-bye. They put the Intercontinental Championship. This man, it wasn't that long ago. He beat Big E for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 37.
At a lengthy feud.
Yes. A very, very lengthy feud. Oh, by the way, that was still the last time the Intercontinental Championship was defended on a premium live event, but I digress.
Wow. Yeah, much like this gives Commander Aziz a chance to be on his own, much like Fabian Eichner not getting called up with Imperium. Now he is repackaged and has had a month's worth of vignettes as Giovanni Vici. And
Giovanni.
He's going to debut next week. So now this is his chance to shine, even though he didn't get the major call up. So you got some chances now in NXT.
I don't know what this is going to lead toward, because if you look at all the other people who have come down, Natalya, it was more of a cup of coffee. They didn't really need to do anything to kind of repackage or rebuild her, do anything like that. That was just hey, here's a very talented female veteran who can mix it up with some of these young people. That'll be fun for a little bit. So that was a different kind of, all right, here's Natalya in NXT, and she kind of got her flowers a little bit. But Finn Balor's booking, for the most part, which we'll talk about him coming up here in a little bit, his booking on the main roster did not improve from his NXT run. Yeah, Viking Raiders disappeared. The Dolph Ziggler, once he randomly dropped the NXT championship after WrestleMania weekend, we didn't see him again until literally Monday. He kind of disappeared. So is this going to be another one of those enjoy the ride while it happens, because he's going to go right back to being the Apollo Crews that we know on the main roster? Or do you think there is a chance that he can kind of reinvent himself and finally show the main roster what he's worth here?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Natalya probably was supposed to stay longer and feud with Nikita Lyons, but then Nikita got hurt.
Yeah, I think that changed a lot of things.
I don't know. This could be a situation where it's like Balor when he got that second run. This could be a lot longer run, reestablish yourself. Now, of course, it didn't work for Balor when he returned. Yet now he's in Judgment Day. I think that as a heel, as the old Prince, when he was leading the Bullet Club, this could be something that is the biggest thing for him since that mark. So there is something for Balor now finally. But I mean, with Ziggler. Yeah, him and Rude. Where they're going to job to Omos now? Is Omos going to get rebuilt? And after
Are
losing
they
to,
baby faces now?
it
Like
looks like it. Yeah.
I'm fine with babyface Bob, but like,
Are they going to get fed to Almas and get to build his wins back now? Or, is that all they're going to do with that? Or, that's all I expect that they're going to do is just get fed to Almas at this point.
I mean, I feel like they're going to get fed to Omos first, and then somehow, some way, that's going to open them up to get a tag team title shot because they need a fresh pair of baby faces to get fed to the Usos.
Well,
So,
I heard they brought back Rude's old theme when he was wrestling by himself for a while in live events, which has not been the case obviously with this week. But they brought back the old Glorious theme for him. So I don't know what's going on here. So that was kind of a complete surprise. With Apollo, I don't know. It's weird. You never know what Vince wants to do, but at the same time, I think it would be great to have him just have a run because he never had a feud in NXT. He's got one now. He teamed up with Solo in the main event. That was a great surprise. I figured
hey,
that was going to be Cameron Grimes. So,
and we finally got some long-term booking here, right? Because now clearly what Roman Reigns and Apollo Crews were talking about on that couch on SmackDown so many months ago was the fact that Roman was like, hey, look, I got this cousin down in NXT, right? I need you to go down there eventually, once he's, he's up, I need you to make sure, take care of him down there, make sure everything's going all right. And then boom, all of a sudden, long-term booking. Now we get Apollo Crews and Solo Sikoa tag teaming in the main event. They did get the win last night. Apollo Crews picking up the win by pinning Grayson Waller. It was a good matchup. I have decided, right, very, very recently to not try to look too far down the road and not try to look too much into things anymore. This Judgment Day thing has thrown me completely for a loop. I'm just going to try to enjoy the ride and then analyze it and pick things apart after I've seen it because it's almost impossible to try to figure out what's going on in WWE on a day-to-day basis anymore.
That's surprised
long term.
I mean, that surprised the hell out of me, and it was a great surprise last night. But at the same time, when you look at it, taking a step back, Edge is not a full-timer. So him leading a faction didn't seem like it had legs to begin with, which was interesting because then he started leading this faction. You're like, oh, is he sticking around 300 days a year now? And now then they gave us the big swerve. So
we'll agree to disagree on that, and we'll talk about Judgment Day and the new report coming out from Fightful Select in just a few moments. First things first, let's talk about the here and now with Mr. Apollo Crews, as well as a few other important questions and topics that we got going on for you today.
It's time to answer the 5 count on the Bleav Podcast Network.
So this is almost a carbon copy of what they did with Dolph Ziggler when he made his return to NXT. And at that point, nobody believed that they would dare put the NXT championship on Dolph Ziggler. That is exactly what they did. They put the NXT championship on Dolph Ziggler. Granted, he took out Tommaso Ciampa in a triple threat match to make that happen, and then ultimately did defeat Bron Breakker in a match that meant nothing because literally 2 days later they decided to put the belt back on Bron Breakker when it looked like he was going to get called up to the main roster. So I'll go ahead and ask this: true or false? Number one here on the 5 count: Apollo Crews will defeat Bron Breakker to become the new NXT champion. Jeremy.
False, unless they are truly calling up Breakker. I think if they're not calling up Breakker, I don't think Apollo is going to be the one to take it off of him. And it makes zero sense to have a main roster guy take it off of him for the second time in less than 3 or 4 months. I think that's kind of ridiculous booking. So if you're keeping Bron in NXT, you got to absolutely have him beat Apollo until you can build somebody back up, either a Cameron Grimes or Grayson Waller, because like I said on an NXT in your house post show, Grayson Waller was the only legitimate guy I could think of that could challenge Bron because Carmelo won the title back, and there was really nobody else that really was legitimately ready for that main event slot. I think Grayson Waller would be, and obviously Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes is probably long overdue for the main roster at this point too. So unless you're calling him up post SummerSlam, pre SummerSlam, whatever, no. If he's staying in NXT, no, you don't have Bron lose it to Apollo.
Yeah, I'm stunned that Bron did not get the call up, because I mean, man, when he had that cup of coffee, I thought he nailed it on Monday Night Raw, and I thought Vince McMahon got one look at him and was like, "Yeah,
Yeah. At the
no,
same time, he had like 15 matches in his career at that point too, but that
yes,
doesn't really
maybe."
matter. That doesn't really matter at some points either.
Yeah,
So
but right now, also, you're looking at a summer where you need depth. You need
yeah,
depth, especially on SmackDown. My lord, do they need reinforcements on SmackDown in both the tag team division, in the women's division, and yeah, I'll say it, even some main event level guys. So depending on how high
well,
you view the ceiling for Bron Breakker, he could instantly come in on SmackDown on Fox and be a major player.
Hell
Uh,
in a Cell told you that SmackDown had all a one match on that pay per view. One match is all they had.
I mean, hell, you had that WrestleVotes report that said they're not happy with their roster on SmackDown, in which case I go, hey, guys, you set the roster. You make the rules. If you ain't happy with how something is set, unless Fox is holding you back or USA's holding you back, fix it. Maybe we'll get some new reinforcements with the new addition to Maximum Male Models. I think Max Dupree has, excuse me, Max Dupree has actually been a pretty nice addition to Friday Night SmackDown
I
so
love how he
far.
just gets right into Adam's face when he's talking.
There is no personal bubble. Look, there's just something about Max, LA Knight, Eli Drake, whatever you want to call
Who
him.
was working with him on dark matches?
It was Mace, and I believe Mansoor was working with him as
Pretty
well.
Deadly would be perfect for him.
Pretty Deadly would be perfect. I think, fingers crossed, I think Cesaro in that role, a guy who does look
Tyler
like
Breeze.
a freaking runway model, Tyler Breeze, but I think Tyler's kind of retired at this point.
Yeah, he's just running flatbacks. He hasn't even competed since he was gone. So
yeah, if Tyler was still with the company, I think he and Fandango would have been a slam dunk for that. It's like, why couldn't they come up with this gimmick 2 years ago and had Cesaro and Tyler Breeze and Fandango be in this group? Because that would have been a home run, I think. If they can talk Cesaro into coming back, because there's been those reports that there are at least the speculation that there are those who believe that he could resign with WWE. I think that's the kind of anchor that can make this group work.
yeah,
If you're just throwing in, the Maces and the Mansoors and the guys that they have not shown any willingness to book in a main event capacity at all, I feel like you're just putting together Retribution again in a different package, and you're just going to book them to lose, but
yeah.
they should be booked to win. But again, I digress. SmackDown needs some new people, so maybe we get some NXT call-ups to fill up, Maximum Male Models, and we can get that going and refresh everything. And they have added some new people. The problem is, I think people have a hard time, and I'm talking about the fans here. The fans have a hard time investing in these new people because of a lot of the unnecessary changes, which is something that we've talked about. I think Pete Dunne would be a star. I think people are hesitant to get behind Butch, right? Gunther is a star, but I think he would be a star already if he was still Walter. So we'll see.
I don't think he's actually been derailed because of that, though. That's one of the few exceptions.
No, he
but
is
like
not.
at the
But
same
his
time,
booking has been there. The booking has been there.
He's gonna smoke Ricochet.
He's going to commit murder on Friday.
Yeah.
Like that's just going to happen. Like poor Ricochet. I'm sorry, Rip. Your Intercontinental title run should have been much more. But
as with about most of the people in the last decade.
Yeah, absolutely. To answer the question, as I've gotten completely far off on this tangent, yes, unless Breakker's going up to help solidify that SmackDown roster, no, Apollo Crews is not going to be winning the NXT championship, because again, there's no Tommaso Ciampa in this situation for Apollo Crews, unless they throw Solo Sikoa in this match, but he's trying to go after the North American championship right now. So we shall see. Either way, let's just enjoy the ride. Apollo Crews is getting this opportunity. That's great for him. We'll see where it goes. Let it play out, as some may say.
It's kind of funny how Carmelo Hayes might be right. The North American title might be the A championship right now.
Yeah.
With everybody involved. Apollo was in that match, but I mean, I said it on Twitter right before the main event. I go, everybody involved in this match And then at the same time, I was thinking Cameron Grimes is going to come out. Everybody in this match could be on the main roster right now, let alone the NXT Championship picture, and they're all in the North American title picture. So that is truly the A Championship right now, and because it was the better match at In Your House, it's been the better booked championship as of late, and yeah, see Kamara.
The way they book the North American Championship is how they used to book the Intercontinental Championship and how they still should book the Intercontinental Championship.
Yep.
If your wrestlers care about it, if you book it like you care about it, then the fans will care about it. Just my 2 cents on that. Roxanne Perez did defeat Tiffany Stratton last night to win the first ever women's breakout tournament with Nikita Lyons out. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. This seemed to be a slam dunk, no brainer.
I picked it before she got hurt.
Yeah, you did.
Bam.
You did. I still think, and we'll never know. Maybe we will, because it's WWE and this is all
Talk to
scripted.
Uncle Sean, he might tell you.
I think Nikita Lyons was a slam dunk to win this match because I think Nikita Lyons before the injury was a slam dunk to beat Mandy Rose for that NXT Women's Championship. So I'll ask this question: true or false, Jeremy? With Nikita Lyons out, Roxanne Perez will defeat Mandy Rose to become the new NXT Women's Champion, a match that she gets via winning this Breakout Star Tournament.
True, because Toxic Attraction's getting called up as soon as they could possibly get called up. And we just probably learned today who's taking the tag titles off of them as well, with Indy Hartwell and Cora Jade. So I think all three of those young women are going to hold the titles here within the next month.
I'm going to say true, but I'm going to disagree with you. I don't know if Toxic Attraction is getting called up as a group. I think Mandy Rose is.
They have to.
I think follow me on this one. I think Mandy Rose is going back up to the main roster. And I think Mandy Rose is going to be reunited with Sonya Deville. And that is going to be your tag team on SmackDown. Because if you look at it, Sonya Deville has completely disappeared from television.
Yeah.
She is gone ever since she lost back-to-back matches towards Alexa Bliss. This, to me, makes all the sense in the world because, one, you need established main roster tag teams. And from what I can tell, they have no interest in unifying the tag team titles. So you're having Toxic Attraction have this pretty good run down there. You keep the belt on them instead of doing another makeshift tag team like Indy and drawing a blank, Cora Jade would be. This would be like Cora Jade's like fourth different tag partner in the last like 3 months. You could bring up Mandy and Sonya. They're more established as main event type stars. Sonya Deville has been heavily featured on TV in that authoritative role for the better part of a year and a half now. Mandy Rose, NXT champion. I think that is a kind of team that would add some credibility to the women's tag team division. And you could do something with them up on the main roster. I think that makes all the sense in the world to put them back together. And I do think that's what WWE will do as they try to piece together some tag teams eventually and get that tournament going for the women's tag team titles. I think that's the route they're going to go.
I disagree because if you call Mandy Rose up and then just put her in a tag team with Sonya Deville, you haven't really established an advancement with her. She needs to be the leader of a group. They need to call up Toxic Attraction together to keep Mandy important. If she goes up, calls up by her own, by herself, she loses all the importance that she had when she was the leader of Toxic Attraction in NXT.
I mean, it all depends on if GG and JC are ready. If you think GG and JC are ready,
I know GG is. I don't know about JC. I don't know about JC though.
And we have seen them be hesitant to call up full groups, which is why, I mean, again, look at Imperium, right? Instead of getting Fabian Eichner, now that made all the sense in the world. Just bring all three of them up.
Yeah.
Now we're getting, Giovanni Vici instead of Fabian Eichner.
And you're probably right, but it's the wrong thing to do because then you're just back at square one with Mandy Rose.
I wouldn't say it was necessarily be the right thing to do. I could just see that being the case that WWE does that. I do think Mandy Rose is needed back up on the main roster at this point. I think you got enough young, up and coming talent. Somebody like Roxanne Perez, who is, by all means a prodigy in this business, could have a really, really strong run with the NXT championship, and she could continue to develop and, earn her stripes down in NXT. I think she's going to be hot shotted toward the main roster sooner rather than later, but she's still got a little bit that she can work on there. Put the title on her. I think this is 100% going to be true. Let Nikita Lyons get healed up and healthy, and then those two can feud over the championship, whenever Nikita comes back. And you can open up Mandy to do whatever you need her to do, but she's needed up on the main roster. If you look at, again, I'll point to SmackDown, right? If you look at that 6-pack challenge that we saw on Friday, I love all the ladies in that match. I think they're all talented. I think they all deserve better booking than what they have gotten. But you had nobody in that match that the crowd was invested in. They were not invested in, whether it's been bad booking, whether it's this, they've been around for so long that they don't view them as credible challengers at this point, or that they're just too fresh of baby faces that they haven't really gotten behind yet. Nobody was invested in that 6-person challenge match, and it only went 4 minutes. They booked that entire match in 4 minutes, and it ended up being Natalya, and she's going to get her shot against Ronda Rousey, which makes some sense from a historical standpoint. But I don't think your main, your casual fans, that main fan, I don't think they care so much about this match. They need some people that the audience can get invested in. Problem is, I don't know if Mandy Rose fits that bill, because they need some baby faces over there. I don't think Sonya Deville necessarily fits that role. And I know Lacey Evans doesn't fit that role either, because she's going to be a heel coming back after she was bounced back to SmackDown. They're going to add some heels over here. They need some baby
Bailey's
faces.
on her way, so
Bailey, I think, is got to be there. She's got to be there sooner rather than later. She's got to show up. She's got to be in that Money in the Bank ladder match.
I think she's
Has
ready.
to be.
I think she's ready.
I hope she's ready. But that's a nice little segue, by the way, there, as we move. By the way, to answer the question, yes, I think that's true. Roxanne Perez will defeat Mandy Rose for the NXT Women's Champion. So speaking of Money in the Bank, never too early to talk about this, right? We finally got those briefcases hanging up there. We saw Montez Ford almost jump right into those suckers as he did the 5-star frog splash in his tag team on Monday. Didn't have time to talk about this with SP3, so I'll bring it up here. Jeremy, you're the booker.
Okay.
Right? Stanford is paying you a pretty penny to put together this Money in the Bank ladder match. You got your future riding on this. Got to get the Money in the Bank matches right this year. Who are you booking to win these matches, both men's and women's?
Well, obviously Cody getting hurt throws a wrench into that. So not right now your top two competitors are Seth Rollins, to where Cody can screw Rollins when he tries to cash in, or Bobby Lashley, who they have been pushing, and he has been getting tremendous reactions from the crowd.
I think he's the guy who's going to fight Roman at Money in the Bank. But
yeah, those are going to be your top two options right now. Riddle is another option as well, depending on how long Randy wants to take a vacation. He's always another option, because I know Vince is well behind him. So I think he is definitely. Kevin Owens is another name. He re-signed that big deal. There's going to be an eventual time where they pull that trigger on him again, and he's a world champion. So those are going to be the guys to immediately look for. On the women's side, I'm sorry to say it, but she's never won it, and they still want her to get to her daddy. I think Charlotte's going to win Money at the women's. As much as I groan and don't want it,
that would hurt my soul. Honestly, it would.
She's never won Money in the Bank, and very damn well that they want to get her to 16. So,
and they probably want to get her every accolade. But there's part of that would be poetic, because there have been so many of the women's Money in the Bank. I think like 80% of the women's Money in the Bank cash-ins have been on Charlotte. So there would be some poetry there, some justice there for Charlotte.
Half of them, or 60% of them.
I was gonna say, what is it?
3 out of 5.
3 out of 5.
Yep.
It was Nikki ASH who cashed in on her.
Bailey
cashed in on her.
Carmella.
Oh, that's right, Carmella. Yeah, that would have taken me a while to remember because that was
The
way back.
The other two were Bliss on Nia Jax and Asuka on Becky Lynch.
Oscar,
But Asuka, but that was the pregnancy announcement, so it
right,
wasn't really
exactly,
an attack.
exactly.
It wasn't
Which
really an attack.
I'm expecting both of those ladies to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match this year.
I
I know people want them to have kind of like another one-on-one match, but we've seen it so much. I think again, going back to there's some poetry here. Their whole thing in 2019 when Becky went away started over the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Yeah,
Becky's brought it up ad nauseum. She handed Asuka her championship in that Money in the Bank briefcase. I think it makes a ton of sense to put both of them in that Money in the Bank ladder match. And I think this card deserves to have both of them on it. So I think Asuka and Becky will be competing for the briefcase. Do I think either one of them will win? No, I do not. Who is going to win on the women's side? That is a really, really tough question.
I mean, it should be Liv Morgan, but it's going to be Charlotte.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Hey, I say Becky Lynch is my second because she's never won it either, and she's going to be as low as she can get. She lost to Dana Brooke. She's going to lose to Asuka at Money in the Bank. That's probably going to be a match at Money in the Bank because that's been a good feud. Asuka trolled her and screwed her over on Monday, so I think that's going to be a Money in the Bank match. I think she wins the briefcase, and then they're going to do that true WWE fashion. They're going to have the rematch, but it's not going to be for the title, where Bianca Belair defeats Becky at SummerSlam to get that win back from last year's 26-second debacle. And because WWE loves to book their Money in the Bank briefcase winners to lose. So I think Becky could win the Money in the Bank and then lose at SummerSlam to Bianca Belair, where that's going to be non-title because I think Rhea is going to take it from her at Money in the Bank.
I don't think Rhea's taking it from Bianca at Money in the Bank. I think that's a little too convoluted for WWE's sake. In this case, I think it's going to be very meat and potatoes. I think Becky and Bianca is going to get a match. Becky and Bianca is going to be a Raw Women's Championship match at SummerSlam. It doesn't need to be, which is why I talked about it on the show yesterday with SP3. I think this is the wrong time to book Rhea and Bianca because Rhea should be beating Bianca for the championship.
Yeah,
which means she's not going to be in the Money in the Bank match either, which means she ain't going to win that.
Oh, I think she's going to beat Bianca now. There's no way they can't have her lose. There's just absolutely no way.
They can. They lost Judgment Day lost their meal ticket.
Well,
their success was Edge.
Yeah,
we'll talk about them.
But they won. I figured Rhea would win it at Clash, and like Doudrop would win.
Sense.
And I thought Doudrop would win the Fatal 4-Way because Doudrop would be an easily expendable person at Money in the Bank to Bianca Belair and continue on. But now they got Rhea. I don't think Rhea's losing at Money in the Bank now, unless there's some kind of DQ or anything where they stretch this thing out. How can you stretch it out if you're going to do Becky and Bianca? So I think Rhea wins the title. And I honestly think Becky and Bianca at SummerSlam and Rhea and Liv for the title at SummerSlam. I think those are your two matchups. There's going to be two women's matchups from Raw, but it's going to be Rhea and Liv for the title.
I really don't see that. Going back to the question of just who wins the Money in the Bank briefcase, I think your top two contenders, I think Liv Morgan has to be there. But until they actually book her to win a match that matters, get that bit, I'm not going to believe that it's going to happen. And I think a lot of it has to come down to with she's incredibly talented. She works incredibly hard. The fans adore her. But I don't know if she knows who she is. She is still stuck in that Becky Lynch 2016, 17, 18 phase where the crowd loves her. She's great. She works hard. She's great in the ring, but she doesn't really have an identity. She doesn't really have a character. She's just Liv.
So they need Nia Jax to break her nose then, right?
It's something. I don't know. She's missing. I don't know what it is. She's missing something. And I think WWE knows she's missing something. And I say that as somebody who absolutely adores her and has been a champion for her for a very, very long time. And I love the work that she puts in. But again, I don't know what it is. I don't know if she knows what it is, but there's just something missing from her. I don't think WWE pulls the trigger. I think the person who wins the women's Money in the Bank ladder match this year is somebody who's already won it. It's going to be Alexa Bliss. They are building her up for something. I thought maybe she would win the Fatal 4-Way because she had been winning matches since she came back, but maybe she wins Money in the Bank. Maybe she cashes it in on Ronda Rousey to get some long overdue revenge from her standpoint, and you can move her on over to SmackDown, without having to make a trade or this, that, and the other thing, and that would be a way again to bolster that roster because the Raw Women's division is deep. The bench is very thin over on SmackDown. I think that's the move there. When it comes to the men, I think the one that makes the most sense is Seth Rollins. That's the one that makes all the sense in the world, especially after what they did on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Seth Rollins wins Money in the Bank, cashes in, defeats Roman Reigns, captures the WWE Universal Championship, and then Cody Rhodes wins the Royal Rumble and challenges Seth Rollins for the world title at WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles and beats him for a fourth time, that attack on Monday is overkill. It's 100% overkill, and all it does is establish Seth Rollins as 100% a dick. That's all it does. He's got no three-dimensional. There's no good in him, right? I used the Star Wars analogy yesterday. All of the force inside of him, all of the good inside of him has gone away. He's now 100% Sith. I loved the ending where he shook his hand and said, "Look, I respect you. I still don't like you, but it's done. It's over. You've earned my respect. Welcome back home." That showed some three-dimensionalness to his character.
I thought they were going to make him a babyface now that Cody was going to be gone for 6 months.
That would have been the choice for me instead of Edge. Instead of turning Edge back into a babyface, that would have been the choice for me.
Well, hey, Cody did not rule out Money in the Bank. Do you think we all know he's a stubborn. We know he's a stubborn son of a bitch. Does he hold off surgery to go Money? No way. There's no way.
Not a chance in hell.
But
not
he's
a chance
stubborn. He's stubborn.
He can't sit on that for a month.
No.
And then go. The only way he's winning Money in the Bank is if they do Brock Lesnar. If they do the Brock Lesnar booking where they got a mystery opponent and he trudges, but he doesn't want to win it that way. That's not how they're going to book it. That doesn't make any sense for Cody.
No.
They did this attack to write him off. Think about that. Think about the mental gymnastics that had to go through somebody's creative mind to go, you know what we need to do? We need to have Seth Rollins attack Cody one more time so we can write him off for injury purposes. Yeah, motherfucker, he already had a completely torn pec.
And he didn't write off Money in the Bank on his speech.
Which was dumb. Why are you teasing that? Like, you're not coming back in 4 weeks.
Until I hear that he has had that on Wednesday or Thursday, I am still holding
He's supposed to have it today. According to commentary, he's supposed to have it today. Reports were that he's going to have it on Thursday. So I'm sure WWE will put out a statement and said, hey, he had a successful pec surgery and, he'll be back in 4 to 6 months, not 4 to 6 weeks.
I'd say Rumble. It's got to be Rumble.
It's got to be Rumble. That's got to be the next thing. It's such a stereotypical thing to do. It's such a, an easy thing for them to do, like the huge Royal Rumble pop return and he wins it. They've done it so many times, but you know what? It would be so damn
It's a
good.
formula that works.
It's a formula that 100% works. So Cody is not going to win Money in the Bank. I think Seth makes all the sense in the world. And I agree with you. Kevin Owens would be good. A lot of these other names you threw out would be good. But there's one name that I want to throw out there as a possibility that nobody is talking about. And this
Ezekiel?
No, not Ezekiel. There is one name that I want to throw out. Sami Zayn.
Oh, I mentioned that on Top Story today. I threw out Sami's name.
I think Sami Zayn entering the Money in the Bank as a way to protect Roman Reigns,
and then he
cashes in on him, briefcase, to hold on to the briefcase to make sure that nobody cashes in on him. And then then he wins it, right? Like the Usos help him win or something like that.
Yeah.
The Usos help Sami Zayn win the Money in the Bank briefcase. And then we can go on this story, right? That we've already, the train can continue to go where Sami thinks he's part of the bloodline. He's one of the honorary Usos. He's holding that briefcase lock and chain. He's never going to cash in on it to protect Roman Reigns and do a favor for the family and for the bloodline. and then something happens, whether he hears the bloodline talking shit about him or they screw
Kind
him
of like the
over.
Batista thing. Remember Batista was in the
Yes.
hallway and he overheard him, and then he gave me all thumbs down. Man,
Yes,
the baby face,
exactly.
the baby face pop,
The big baby face turn, and then somewhere down the line, Sami Zayn cashes in his Money in the Bank briefcase and beats Roman Reigns to win the world championship.
The pop he would get for clocking Roman with the briefcase and cashing it in would be tremendous.
And here's the thing. That title run wouldn't even have to be long at all. At all. The next pay-per-view, you could book Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns, and Roman could win.
Yeah.
He could. He really could. But that would be the ultimate culmination, to me anyway. That would be the ultimate culmination to this Sami Zayn Uso bloodline storyline, is to have him win Money in the Bank, have him cash in on Roman when he was supposed to be protecting Roman in the first damn place. Yeah. And then you make the big babyface turn. And now you've got a top-level babyface in Sami Zayn, who the crowd wants to love anyway.
Yeah, I threw Sami's name out there, but I didn't think about the possibilities that could bring if he did win it. So that I do like that idea a lot. That would be a big pop.
At 100%, it would, and I think the crowd would eat it up. All right. So you went with whom again for Money in the Bank?
I said Rollins and Charlotte.
Rollins and Charlotte. I'm going to go with Rollins and Bliss, although, God, I love that idea of Sami Zayn so much that I want to talk myself into it. But I don't have faith that WWE Creative would have that kind of vision.
It's too good of an idea.
It's too good of an idea. Just like my I Quit match idea with Kevin Owens and Ezekiel.
I thought that was going to happen. Holy shit. I thought that was going to happen.
We're that close.
I thought.
There were 2 times during Monday Night Raw I thought I was booking that show. And then both times they decided to just smack me down at the last second.
Yeah, that's what Vince does.
I'm just still in shock, awe, all of this. I'm still trying to wrap my brain about everything that's going on with the Judgment Day, or the new Judgment Day, or Judgment Day 2.0, with Edge being kicked out of his own group 2 months after it came together. Hell, they've only been a trio for a month now. Finn Balor replacing Edge as the leader of Judgment Day, in a move that made absolutely no sense from a storyline standpoint. And we got an update from Fightful Select. Sean Rossap reporting that they can confirm, PW Insiders report, that Edge has been moved back to the babyface side of the internal depth chart as of Tuesday. For those asking if it was a reactionary move toward the Cody Rhodes injury, they are still working to confirm, but what they can say is this seems more reactionary to the direction that WWE wanted to take Judgment Day. Fightful Select was told by sources that WWE had mentioned taking Judgment Day a supernatural route, which Edge was said to have been opposed to. Word started to emerge in the afternoon and hours ahead of Raw that a big shift involving Finn Balor and Edge was set to happen, although that was firmly set on Monday. The pitch to have Balor as a member of Judgment Day came well before that. Fightful sources had indicated to them that the week prior that Balor was set to turn heel and join the group days before Hell in a Cell. However, there was no mention at that point of Edge leaving the group. So, Jeremy, buying or selling Edge being removed from Judgment Day over creative differences?
I heard about this before that came out, so yes, I will buy that. I heard about the supernatural stuff before the Fightful Select
and we
came
saw
out.
a little bit of it with the purple lighting and the demon eyes with Damian Priest, and that kind of went away there for a little bit.
You got to remember, Edge is not a full-time star either, so maybe this was not a long-term plan for Edge anyways, because Balor has been long rumored to join the group. Though I didn't want it to happen. I wanted him, AJ, and Liv to kind of stay as a group together.
Initially, you were all for it, though.
Yeah. But now you get to see, the Bullet Club side of Finn that you've never seen in WWE. So that's going to be kind of cool. But is he the leader? I don't know. Damian did all the talking and did all the clocking. So
yeah, but Finn is the silver-tongued devil that got him to talk at Damian and Rhea into turning on Edge, saying that Edge was the weak link.
So they're doing the dirty work, yeah.
Yeah, when Edge was the weak link. Imagine, again, I'll use the term mental gymnastics. Imagine the mental gymnastics of trying to put together and figure that Edge, an 11-time world champion, a Hall of Famer, the guy who brought you guys together to elevate your careers, and again, He was the bulletproof part of this. This group was going to get every chance to succeed because Edge was involved in it. You pull that guy out saying he's the weak link, and we're going to all hail Prince Balor now, when Balor ain't won shit for 4 damn years on the main roster. He has never, since he was hurt as Universal Champion, he has never been presented as a guy that WWE was fully invested in. They had a chance to pull the trigger at Extreme Rules in Columbus, and they literally pulled the floor out from under him.
They pulled the trigger, but then he got hurt.
Exactly, but I'm saying when they pulled the trigger in 2016, since then, they have not been invested in him for whatever reason, even though the guy has everything you want in a superstar.
I think this was, I almost think this was the plan all the time because, again, Edge is not a full-time guy. So there was only so much he was going to be doing with this group. So I almost think this was the full-on plan.
Unless I was being lied to, I don't buy that because I talked to Damian Priest 4 days ago. This was Edge's idea. He called up Damian Priest and said, hey, look, I want you in this. I want Rhea Ripley in this. It's going to be the 3 of us. I'm going to elevate you guys and we're going to push forward. I really doubt the second half of that phone call was going to be, I'm going to get you guys started, and then we're going to have Damian Priest take over 2 months in. Or excuse me, not Damian Priest, but we're going to have Finn Balor take over 2 months in. Or if that was the case, I don't know if Damian would say yes to that.
Or he was in kayfabe when he said that.
Maybe, possibly, but are you working your coworkers? I don't know. Okay, I mean, Edge.
MJF is.
Yeah, I mean, Edge is one of these dudes who's always working, right? But
he's not a full timer, so he's not going to be on the road 300 days a year?
I understand that, but he was gone for days during this buildup.
Yeah, that's true.
He was gone for days. You don't always need him there. You could record promos. Again, if you know where a story's going, you could record a ton of stuff, backstage segments and this, that, and the other thing ahead of time. And, Edge could be there without actually being there. There's ways to work around. Did you ever hear the story about how they filmed Sunny in Philadelphia? Ever hear that? I believe it was the first or second season of Sunny in Philadelphia. Whenever they brought Danny DeVito on, right? He had a huge filming schedule. They had to shoot every scene for the entire season with Danny DeVito in like 2 weeks. So they literally filmed every scene with Danny DeVito for the entire season in like a 2-week stretch, and then had to go back and reshoot every week, which meant they had to go back and make sure they had the right costumes. They had to make sure they had everybody look the same, continuity matched for every episode. They planned everything out meticulously to a point so they could get Danny DeVito in that role and be a part of that series. You can do that in big television productions. I have faith that WWE could have found a way to keep Edge as the head of this group and still on his part-time schedule. I'm not buying. I'm not this group. Maybe it was a home run. Seems doomed from the get-go because WWE, 1, panicked with Cody Rhodes, and 2, they saw a vision for this group that Edge wasn't on board with. So they said, well, if we take Edge away, we can do what we want with Judgment Day. And I think this group's going to be dead in the water because they're going to have Rhea Ripley lose her first big match at Money in the Bank, and then they don't have Edge that they can draw back on, so they're not going to feel compelled to book them as highly as they normally would. I don't have good feelings for Judgment Day without Edge.
Unless it comes out that this was completely reactionary to Cody, I just feel like this was the plan all along for a big swerve. And it's going to elevate Finn finally. It could even elevate him to a title if they ever split the titles. I don't know if they're ever going to do that, but who knows? But it could work.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong because the talent is there for this group. If they had started this from the get-go, if they said, hey, here's a faction of Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, and Finn Balor, I would have said, hell and yes, I am completely on board. Babyface heel does not matter. You want to make him spooky? Cool. The talent's there. I love that combination.
Just the combination of Edge's schedule and the fact that Balor was brought to NXT to rebuild himself, and they never capitalized on that yet. I think when they started this, they saw an opportunity to bring Balor on, and they thought, hey, let's just do this huge swerve that nobody's going to see coming because nobody saw that coming on Monday. So we'll put this huge swerve in.
Nobody saw it on Monday because it didn't make sense. It was so rushed.
Yeah.
It was so rushed. And that's the other thing. You can't tell me that this was creative differences and didn't have anything to do with Cody Rhodes, because if this was your plan all along, this would have made more sense spread out over the course of several more weeks and several more months with Finn in the group and actually build the dissension in the ranks. This was so rushed. This was so last minute. This made no sense whatsoever in the time frame based off of their booking recently. I'm not buying the creative differences, at least as the sole reasoning for this. I still think they panicked over the Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, if it's confirmed that it's because of Cody, it'll make complete sense. If it's not, then I feel like it was the original plan all along.
Rollins was, if you're looking for somebody for a baby face to fill Cody Rhodes, Rollins was the slam dunk.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, but he was until he came running out there with that sledgehammer to injury right off a guy who already had a legitimate injury. Real quick, lastly, because we're already 55 minutes into this half-hour podcast, call your shot tonight. Big AEW Dynamite. We know Jon Moxley will be in the main event, where the winner will go on to Forbidden Door to challenge for the interim AEW World Championship. The opening of the show will feature a battle royal. The winner will face Jon Moxley in the main event. Who is going to win that battle royal? Who, I say, Jeremy, is going to win the battle royal and face Jon Moxley in the main event of AEW Dynamite?
Bryan Danielson.
He's out, though. He's hurt.
Is he?
Yeah, he's going to be out for a couple weeks. I don't fault you, because so many people have been injured in the last few weeks. But Bryan Danielson literally could not fly to an event because he was hurt. So he's going to be out for, I believe, 1 to 2 weeks. So I don't know if he's going to be available tonight. So I'll give you a mulligan.
Well, I've heard this being brought up, and I don't want it to happen. I've heard a lot of people bring up MJF, and I don't think that they should do that, because he should stretch out this feud with the establishment much further. There's so many things they can do with that. So they should not push MJF. Absolutely not at all. Geez, now, I don't know. You go ahead and I'll think about it here.
See, because I'm still thinking. I'm sitting here going, what would make a lot of sense? Can we have some fun here? Can it be, somebody like Hook, right? Could it be Hook? Could it be somebody like Wardlow? I think Wardlow and Jon Moxley would have a really good match, but does it make a whole lot of sense for Wardlow to lose to Jon? That's the thing. Jon Moxley's winning this. Jon Moxley's winning this matchup. So it's
I got it because he's going to have help to win. Malachi Black.
Malachi Black would be a good call. I think Malachi Black would be a hell of a call. They're finally done with Death Triangle. They need something for him to do.
Mm-hmm.
But do you want him to lose that match? That's the question. Because again, Moxley's winning. Like
it's Moxley and Tanahashi.
It's Moxley and Tanahashi.
It's like a match they've been wanting for years.
Tony Khan, and I God love him for actually like going out of his way to book some stuff for us to watch. And look, it's Tanahashi and Moxley. Like that. Yep. That's what's going to happen.
They've been wanting that match for years. So
none of this. Actually, that's happening is going to matter in the long run. When it comes to the booking, because it's already done. It's already set.
I didn't know. I know Brian got pulled from that, but I didn't realize he was confirmed out for Wednesday. So
yeah. So I mean, Hangman would be an option, but he's already got a match on the card, right?
No. Yeah, he's facing Finlay.
Danielson's out. Man, it's tough. Darby Allin might be a good shot if
they weren't holding the tag titles, I'd say Jungle Boy. But no, I like Malachi Black. He'll have the House of Black in there with him. I think it makes booking sense that they help him win that.
I'd say Miro, but damn it, man, he shouldn't be losing right now.
Scorpio's already calling him out, so
you know what would be fun? Here's the guy I'm going to pick. Because it doesn't matter, because it would be a fantastic match.
Doesn't matter.
It would be a fantastic match, and this guy could lose. It doesn't matter. Pac.
Oh, that'd be great.
Give me Pac. I'll pick Pac. Pac wins the battle royal, goes to the main event. He and Moxley steal the show. Moxley wins. That's what I'm going to call. Because again, that's a guy that is credible. He's fantastic. It would put on a great match, and it doesn't hurt him to lose at all. I think that is pinpoint the guy you want to put in there. Although you could just have fun and have Danhausen win. Think about that. Have Danhausen win and then go into the main event with Moxley and just get obliterated.
He's trying to curse Mox.
I
wouldn't put him past it to have Adam Cole win.
No, because again, he's one of these guys who shouldn't be losing right now. He lost plenty enough already in the AEW World Title picture to Hangman Adam Page, and he just won the Owen Hart. So again, you got to find that guy. It all depends on what Tony wants to do. Does he want to have fun with the main event?
If he's in the Battle Royal, it's a loss too there. So
yeah. So like, does he want to have fun? But there's a difference between getting tossed over a top rope and actually getting your shoulders pinned to the ground or tapping out.
I feel pretty strongly about Malachi with the help of Brody King and Buddy.
It's going to come down to, does Tony Khan want to have fun? In which case he could book something like Danhausen where the main event is 3 minutes long. Or does he want to put on a hell of a main event? In which case I think Pac makes a ton of sense. Pac or Darby Allin, I think, is what I'm going to go with tonight.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to just have fun with this. This is a kind of a serious thing.
Imagine the crowd reaction though. Mox and Danhausen. Come on, man.
I honestly would love to see Hook, but he's undefeated right now. So
exactly.
You don't want to do that.
It ain't the right time for that. So you got to find a guy who's going to put on a great match.
I tell you what,
it's not going to hurt him to lose, and I think Pac's that guy.
If he was booked a little better, Max Caster would be a great one to win, but he's already been smoked by Moxley before.
Listen,
those guys are over. Once Bowens gets back and they break away from the ass boys, man.
I'm just gonna do this.
You're gonna scissor yourself?
I'm just gonna scissor to close out the show.
Them guys are over. But yeah, he's already been smoked by Moxley. I'm sticking with Malachi Black, man. That's the match. That's book it. Right. Book it.
Well, SP3 and I will be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. to talk about how wrong you were with everything you said on this show tonight. But we love you. It's okay. I love having you on because we think so differently. So it works out. It makes for a great conversation. We appreciate everybody who tuned into all 61 minutes of this half-hour podcast today here on the Bleav in Pro Wrestling YouTube channel and available anywhere and everywhere that podcasts are available. Please hammer the thumbs up button. Please hammer the subscribe button wherever you're listening to us. It really, really helps us out. Again, check out my pinned tweet at Rick Ucchino on Twitter, RICKUCCHINO. Retweet that. Win yourself some tickets to SummerSlam, Nissan Stadium in Nashville, I believe on July 29th. I believe that is the date. Check out my pinned tweet. Follow him on Twitter at JB Huskers. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Enjoy AEW Dynamite. This has been the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast brought to you by Bet